After 8 years of legal warfare, Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie have finally settled their bitter divorce. But insiders say it wasn't just courtroom battles keeping them tied. It was a secret ultimatum from Brad's new girlfriend, a multi-million-dollar NDA, and a lawsuit over their $62 million French winery. And now, Brad's finally ready to speak. Chapter 1. Why Angelina kept Brad trapped in divorce for 8 years. When Angelina Jolie filed for divorce from Brad Pitt in September 2016, just days after their infamous private jet fight, the world thought their breakup would be swift and clean. She cited irreconcilable differences in court, requesting sole physical custody of their 6 children, and triggering what would become one of the longest and most bitter divorce battles in Hollywood history. At the center of it all was that 2016 private jet incident. Allegations surfaced that Brad became verbally and physically aggressive toward both Angelina and the children while intoxicated on the flight from France to Los Angeles. But despite the headlines, Brad was never charged. The FBI and the Department of Child and Family Services investigated and ultimately closed the case with no charges filed. By April 2019, they were officially declared legally single under California law, a process known as bifurcation that allowed them to be legally unmarried even though the divorce settlement remained unresolved. But even with their marriage legally ended, the real fight was just beginning. For 8 years, Brad and Angelina remained locked in legal disputes, battling over custody of their children, fighting over financial support, and waging war over their sprawling $62 million Château Miraval vineyard in France. Every issue became a new front in their private Cold War. Angelina's legal team publicly framed the delays as an effort to protect her family's well-being. Since that time, she has focused on finding peace and healing for their family, said Jolie's lawyer James Simon in a statement. Behind the scenes, however, Brad's camp painted a different picture. They accused Angelina of intentionally dragging out the process as a way to maintain control, both over the legal outcomes and over Brad himself. Brad believed Angelina was using delays to keep leverage over him, shared an insider familiar with the situation. Indeed, the longer the divorce dragged on, the more tangled the issues became. Custody hearings were overturned, judges were disqualified, settlement agreements fell apart, and the winery, the place where they married, became both a symbol of their failed relationship and a financial weapon in their legal arsenal. Through it all, Brad stayed relatively silent publicly, while Angelina's legal filings continued to accuse him of abuse and control, allegations he vehemently denied. Friends close to Brad say the drawn-out process took a personal toll, especially as he struggled to repair his relationship with his children amid the legal chaos. Yet despite Angelina's public statements about wanting closure, the court filings told a different story. Every attempt to finalize the divorce seemed to hit a new roadblock. He has wanted his divorce settled long before now, but he believes Angelina has been dragging her feet, another insider explained. And so, the divorce that should have taken months stretched into years, overshadowing their careers, their reputations, and their family. But if Angelina truly wanted peace and healing, why didn't she let go sooner? Turns out the delays weren't just legal, they were personal. Chapter 2. The girlfriend who forced Brad to end it all. While the world watched Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie's divorce drag on for nearly a decade, few realized a quiet force was working behind the scenes to finally push it over the finish line. That force? Inez de Ramon, a 32-year-old jewelry designer who entered Brad's life in late 2022 and unexpectedly became the catalyst for change. Brad and Inez kept their relationship low-key at first, spotted only at private events and paparazzi photos taken from a distance. But insiders say Inez wasn't just another rebound or celebrity fling. From the beginning, she made it clear she wanted a future, and that future didn't include being stuck in Brad's unresolved past. She didn't want to marry a man still legally tied to Angelina, an insider revealed. According to sources close to the couple, Inez dreamed of starting a family with Brad and was eager to move forward. But the cloud of his unfinished divorce loomed large, threatening their plans. She made it clear she wasn't going to wait forever while he stayed locked in legal battles, another insider shared. That ultimatum reportedly lit a fire under Brad, who had spent years mired in court filings, depositions, and custody hearings. The idea of losing Inez, after already feeling estranged from some of his children, was too much to bear. Brad feared Inez would leave if he didn't finally settle things with Angelina, a friend close to the actor explained. But it wasn't just about love. Insiders say Brad viewed the settlement as a crucial step to repair his public image, especially with his children. He knew that moving forward with Inez Inez, while still entangled in legal warfare with their mother, could deepen the rift. He was desperate to keep his children on side ahead of his new marriage. One longtime friend noted, in September 2024, Brad and Inez made their first public debut as a couple at the Venice Film Festival. Walking the red carpet together, they smiled for cameras, subtly but unmistakably signaling their relationship to the world. It was a soft launch, carefully timed, but behind the glamorous photos, sources say the event was more symbolic than it appeared. Brad wanted to show the world, and perhaps his ex, that he was moving on, that he wasn't stuck in the past anymore. And Inez, she wasn't shy about setting boundaries. Friends say she pushed Brad to prioritize closure, both legally and emotionally, if he wanted a real future together. She didn't want to be the woman waiting in the background while her boyfriend fought with his ex-wife, another insider said. For Brad, finalizing the divorce wasn't just about closing a chapter with Angelina, it was about proving to Inez and the public that he was finally free to start fresh. But the settlement wasn't just for love, it was damage control, because Brad knew the legal war wasn't the only thing at stake. Chapter 3, Brad's $8.5 million NDA that Angelina refused to sign as Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie's divorce stretched into its 8th year. A quiet but explosive battle unfolded behind the scenes, centered around a single document. According to newly surfaced legal filings, Brad had allegedly asked Angelina to sign an $8.5 million non-disclosure agreement, NDA, as part of a deal to buy out her stake in their co-owned French winery, Château Miraval. But this wasn't just any business contract. The NDA reportedly went far beyond the usual corporate protections. Legal documents claim it aimed to silence Angelina from speaking publicly about Brad's alleged personal misconduct, whether related to Miraval or not. Angelina refused. Mr. Pitt refused to purchase Ms. Jolie's interest when she would not be silenced by his NDA. Her attorney Paul Murphy stated in a public filing, from Angelina's perspective, the NDA wasn't just a business safeguard, it was a deliberate attempt to bury allegations of abuse that she had long kept private. In her court filing, she argued that the NDA was Brad's way of locking her into silence over years of abuse she claimed to have endured during their relationship. By refusing to sign, Angelina believed she was standing up against an attempt to cover up his misconduct, shared an insider familiar with her legal team's thinking. Brad's side painted a very different picture. His lawyers called the NDA a standard business protection, meant to protect the winery's reputation and brand value, nothing more. The clause made clear there would be no limits on her ability to testify in legal proceedings. It wasn't meant to silence her from telling her story in court, a source close to Brad's team explained. But when Angelina refused to sign, Brad backed out of the buyout. Instead of purchasing her shares, he sued her for selling her $62 million stake in Miraval to the Stoli Group without his consent. The lawsuit reignited their already volatile post-divorce relationship. Angelina's legal filings painted Brad's lawsuit as retaliation for her refusal to stay quiet. Her attorneys accused him of using his wealth and influence to control the narrative and punish her for leaving him. He's wielded his financial power to try to silence and outmaneuver Angelina, her lawyer said in a press statement. Meanwhile, Brad's side accused Angelina of weaponizing the media every time she faced a legal setback. Every time she loses legally, she runs back to the press, a source close to Brad told reporters. The NDA was supposed to resolve one issue. Instead, it became the spark that reignited the war between them. But the NDA wasn't the end. It was the trigger for something even bigger, because what Angelina did next hit Brad where it hurt most. Chapter 4, Angelina sold their $62 million winery behind Brad's back in 2021, 5 years after she filed for divorce. Angelina Jolie made a decision that would reignite her legal war with Brad Pitt, and this time, it wasn't about custody or finances. It was about Château Miraval, the French estate and winery where they had once exchanged vows and raised their children. Without Brad's consent, Angelina sold her $62 million stake in the winery to the Stoli Group. Brad was blindsided. Within weeks, he sued, claiming the sale violated their mutual agreement that neither could sell their shares without the other's approval. According to Brad's legal team, Angelina's sale wasn't just a business deal, it was a breach of trust. Brad feels Miraval is his legacy. Angelina knew selling it would wound him deeply, shared an insider close to the actor. For Brad, Miraval wasn't just a property, it was the place they had married, the project they had nurtured together, and the symbol of everything he had hoped would endure beyond their relationship. Losing it to an outside corporation felt to him him, like losing a part of his identity. But Angelina's team painted a starkly different picture. Her lawyers argued that she had no choice but to sell. They accused Brad of controlling finances to punish her for leaving, blocking her access to funds, and trying to force her into unfavorable legal positions. This sale was an act of freedom, her attorney declared publicly. In legal filings, Angelina's team described Brad's actions as vindictive behavior, designed to isolate her financially and maintain control even after their split. The sale, they argued, wasn't revenge. It was liberation from a toxic business partnership that mirrored the dynamics of their broken marriage. But Brad's lawsuit claimed otherwise. He alleged that by selling her stake to the Stoli group, Angelina knowingly handed control of their cherished winery to a third party that could jeopardize the brand's future. The battle over Miraval quickly became a proxy war for their entire divorce, a fight over legacy, identity, and unresolved grievances. As the lawsuit dragged on, another fracture deepened: Brad's relationship with his children. In the years since the divorce, several of the kids had reportedly distanced themselves from their father. Zahara, Shiloh, and Vivian were all said to have dropped the Pitt surname from school and legal documents. Maddox and Pax were believed to have little contact with him. For Brad, the battle for Miraval wasn't just about the vineyard, it was about preserving something of the family he felt slipping away. But while Brad lost the winery fight, he wasn't ready to lose the final battle, because with the twins turning 18 soon, Brad's window to repair his family is closing fast. Chapter 5: The Shocking Secrets. Brad is still hiding from the world. For 8 years, Brad Pitt has endured public accusations, private heartbreak, and relentless legal battles. But through it all, there's been one thing he hasn't done: publicly fire back at Angelina Jolie's most explosive claims. Aside from a 2017 interview with GQ where he admitted to battling alcoholism, Brad has remained tight-lipped about the deeper allegations swirling around their split. Brad wants to protect the kids from the public mess, an insider close to the actor shared. He's always believed dragging this fight into the media would only hurt them. But behind that silence, sources say Brad's holding on to secrets. Secrets about Angelina, their relationship, and their family that could reshape public perception if ever revealed. Brad's holding back things about Angelina that could change everything. But he's biting his tongue, another insider revealed. Legal documents leaked over the years have hinted at the fractures within their family. One filing included allegations that Angelina encouraged the children to distance themselves from Brad, undermining custody agreements and fueling their estrangement. She told them things that made them not want to see him, a source familiar with the custody battle claimed. In fact, at one point, a judge warned Angelina that she needed to foster the kids' relationship with Brad, ordering her to provide him with their phone numbers and ensure unmonitored communication. But that ruling was later overturned when the judge was disqualified from the case, reopening old wounds and leaving custody unresolved. Over time, signs of the family fracture became public. Brad's fight over Château Miraval has taken on symbolic weight. Sources say he sees the winery as the last piece of his shared life with Angelina that he refuses to let go of. Brad won't let her take his winery too, another insider explained. It's more than a business. It's the last part of their story he's trying to preserve. Now, with the divorce officially settled, Brad's legal ties to Angelina are finally severed, except for the ongoing Miraval lawsuit. Friends say he hopes the end of the divorce will give him a chance to rebuild, with Inés de Ramón, with his public image, and maybe, someday, with his children. He wants a clean slate, a close source said, a fresh start, he's ready for peace. But is Brad protecting the kids or protecting himself? Because now that the legal fight is over, Brad may be ready to tell his side at last. Brad's silence is breaking, and what he's ready to reveal could change everything we thought we knew. Subscribe now and turn on notifications, because if you think this divorce battle was over, the next chapter is even more explosive.